You wake up at 7:14 a.m., not because of an alarm, because the housekeeper accidentally knocked something over on the floor below you. The floor below you is the fourth floor. You have a fifth. You check your phone. 17 texts from friends asking if you want to split an Uber to school. You say yes, not because you need to, because the alternative is explaining why a car that costs more than their parents' house is already waiting outside. You split the Uber. You sit in the back. You don't talk about the driver who took the rolls to get detailed this morning. You don't talk about anything. Because at this school, in this city, in this life, nobody knows. And you made a decision a long time ago to keep it that way. Your father is worth $1 trillion. You are 17 years old. And today is just a Tuesday. The school is private. Not because your family needed private. Because public schools have journalists whose kids attend them. Your dad's security team approved this building 3 years ago. Exit routes, camera blind spots, delivery schedules. You didn't know any of this until you were 13 and accidentally found the report in his office. You stopped looking through his office after that. Your locker is next to a kid named Marcus. Marcus works weekends at a grocery store. He talks about it like it's the most normal thing in the world. Because for him it is. You listen. You ask questions. You never say the wrong thing, not because you're careful, because you genuinely don't know how to relate to what he's describing, and you've learned that silence is safer than accidentally sounding like you're from a different planet. You are from a different planet. You just learned how to dress like you're not. Blue cap, white tee, jeans that look regular, sneakers that are regular. You picked them yourself specifically because they're regular. Lunch is a $9 sandwich from the school cafeteria. You eat it, not because $9 matters, because eating the same $9 sandwich as everyone else is the closest thing you have to normal. Nobody at school knows your last name, not your real one. You enrolled under your mother's maiden name 7 years ago. Legal, clean. Your father's attorneys handled it the same week he crossed 9 figures. Your best friend Jake has been to your house twice. Both times it was the apartment. Not the apartment your family actually uses, the other one. The one kept specifically for situations like Jake. 3 bedrooms, nice but not impossible. A kitchen with groceries that look like someone actually bought them that week. A TV that's big but not obscene. Jake thinks you're comfortable. He has no idea that comfortable is a costume you wear on weekdays. The real house has a name, not an address, a name. Properties at a certain level stop being addresses and start being named. Like ships, like mountains. You've never told anyone that. You've never told anyone a lot of things. You get an allowance, $500 a month. Your father decided this when you were 12 and hasn't changed it since. He said the number wasn't about what you needed. It was about what you should have to think about. You thought about that sentence for 3 years. You still think about it. $500 a month when your father's net worth generates more than that every single second means the allowance isn't money. It's a lesson. You budget it. Not because you have to, because he's watching whether you do. Last month you spent $340 and saved the rest. You told him at dinner. He nodded once and went back to his food. That nod was the most expensive feeling you've ever had. Your friends talk about money constantly. Who has it? Who doesn't? Whose parents drive what? Whose house is bigger? You participate in exactly none of these conversations. Not because you're above it. Because you calculated once at 14, sitting in math class, that your father makes more money in the time it takes to have that conversation than most of their parents will make in their entire lives. You wrote it in your notebook. Then you closed the notebook. Then you never opened that page again. People think being this close to this much money feels like power. It doesn't. It feels like carrying something invisible that nobody around you can see, but you feel every single second of every single day. You can't complain, not because your life isn't hard in its own way, but because the sentence, "I'm struggling," coming out of your mouth would be the most tone-deaf thing anyone in your zip code has ever said. So you don't say it. You sit with it. In the Uber with Marcus and Jake, listening to them talk about weekend plans that involve budgets and coupons, and whether the movie is worth full price or if they should wait for streaming. You contribute $4 to the Uber. You say the movie sounds good. You go home to a building that has its own name, and you sit in a room that's bigger than most apartments, and you open your $9 sandwich, and you eat it alone, and you think about what normal actually costs, and whether you could ever afford it. Even with everything your father has, you're not sure you can. People assume the plan is obvious. Take over the company, inherit the empire, step into the life that's already been built. Your father has never said that, not once. What he said, the one time you asked, was, "The money is yours to lose. What you build is yours to keep." You wrote that down too. You keep it in a different notebook. One nobody has ever seen. At school, they ask what you want to do after graduation. You say you're figuring it out. They nod like that means you're behind. You're not behind. You're just carrying a question they don't have. What do you become when you could become anything? Not because of talent, not because of work, but because a number with 12 zeros attached to your last name means every door is already open before you knock. The hardest thing about every door being open is figuring out which one you actually want to walk through. Somewhere right now, a kid is checking his bank account, hoping enough cleared for the weekend. And somewhere else, a kid is sitting in a cafeteria eating a $9 sandwich trying to remember what it felt like before he knew what his father was worth. Both of them are just trying to figure out who they are. One of them has $1 trillion behind him. Neither of them feels like it's enough. The money was never the story. It was always about what the money makes invisible and what it can never buy back. If that hit different, you know where the subscribe button is. The next one goes somewhere you didn't expect.